breaking news which is coming in right now. Back-to-back breakings on the mysterious death of Sushant Singh Rajput as the CBI and the ED are looking at a possible motive. Troubles mounting for Rhea as the focus is now firmly on the property angle, which of course the Enforcement Directorate is probing. Times Now has accessed Rhea's income tax return of 2017-2018 and 2018-2019, in which Rhea interestingly declared 18.75 lakhs and 18.23 lakhs as her income respectively. But these raise even more questions, as the house which is purchased was of 42 lakhs. Well, the ED has intensified interrogation as they suspect some kind of foul play. After all, where did the money come from? Well, that's a big story that we are getting for you. Priyank Tripathi is joining us with all the details from Mumbai. Priyank, this is very interesting. Right ahead of Rhea's interrogation by the Enforcement Directorate, as well as the brother, two of them, of course, are also directors of Sushant Singh Rajput's companies. But interestingly, with a salary of roughly 18 lakh rupees income, how was she buying two plush properties in Mumbai?
Yeah, certainly, Meghna, that's a approval of what Times Now has been reporting, that the family's ITR was very less, and there you have the document in front of our TV screen which clearly shows that how Rhea Chakrabarti only had an ITR of 18.5 lakh rupees, but the spending pattern of Rhea Chakrabarti increased over a period of 2 years, 1.5 years I would say, since the time she met Sushant Singh Rajput. Sushant had one other girlfriend. After she left Sushant's life, then Rhea Chakrabarti came into picture, and gradually she started capturing the money which belonged to Sushant Singh Rajput. And then you had these kind of plush property being purchased by Rhea, which is certainly under the scanner of Enforcement Directorate. Rhea and her brother had left their residence around 9 a.m. early in the morning today. And what we can anticipate that they would be talking to their lawyers, because Manish Shinde has a meeting, a hearing at High Court today at 11 a.m. And after that, Rhea Chakrabarti will be joining the investigation. And these documents which has been accessed by Times Now would be the key factors on which the Enforcement Directorate had continued their questioning last few days back. And today, once again, the second round of questioning will happen. One more important factor which the ED will also be looking at, that how the company which had funding of Sushant Singh Rajput also had these two, brother and sister and father, as director, and two of these companies had patent right with it. So any product which have been produced or launched by the company, there would have been patent, and if this right would have been purchased by some other company, royalty should have been paid to Sushant Singh Rajput. But instead of having any kind of investment in these company, Rhea Chakrabarti and Shouvik Chakrabarti would have got their share of money. And since Sushant Singh Rajput is right now no more, these two people are the key owners of the board of directors of this particular company. So these are the basic questions on which the income tax detail and the patent right. The ED will be questioning Rhea Chakrabarti. Shouvik was questioned for around 26 hours till now, and once again he will be questioned. What we can see that there would be a joint questioning of all three members of the family, because tomorrow the Apex Court will be looking into the matter. There could be an adverse order which can come up from the Apex Court. So before that can happen, the ED will have to complete their questioning today as soon as possible.
Oh, this is very interesting. Of course, ED is also now working on a deadline. After all, they are all anticipating some kind of order to come in at least by tomorrow from the Apex Court. Do stay on with us, Priyank. Pranesh is also joining us. Pranesh, take us through the income tax returns of Rhea over the 2 years that we've managed to access.
Meghna, now that the property angle is firmly in focus, the investigating agency, in this case the Enforcement Directorate, at least for the now, is looking after the tax files of Rhea Chakrabarti and her family members. Now remember, Sushant's family has also said time and again that not just did Rhea swindle money from Sushant's bank accounts to the tune of crores, there are other discrepancies also that might come up if her records are checked. Now that's an allegation, and we've accessed the income tax record of Rhea Chakrabarti, assessment year 2017-18 and 2018-19. Now the total income in the financial year 2017-18 for Rhea Chakrabarti was 18 lakhs 75,100 rupees. If you see the income tax, in fact, if you see the total amount the next year, which is 2018-2019, this is 18,23,270 rupees. Now, on the face of it, there is nothing suspicious about it, but many people believe that if this was her total income, or this was the income that she paid tax on, how could she buy an expensive property in upscale Bandra Malad area?
Absolutely.
And there's another document that I want to show, and we'll come to that in just a bit. But for now, this is under the lens of the investigating agency, Meghna, and Ria and Ria's brother will be quizzed on this.
In fact, taking it forward, Priyank, if you can tell us about the two properties. Times Now's gone and visited those properties as well. Tell us a bit about the properties, the rough estimates of how much they would have cost her.
The estimated cost would have been of 85 CR. I'm sorry, 85 lakh. But the exact detail, there's some movement. The ED officials are coming here, Meghna, and they would be questioning Ria Chakrabarti. While coming back to your question, there were four properties, in fact, which were purchased by the Chakrabarti over the period of this year of 10 years. And the first property was purchased by Indrajit Chakrabarti in the year 2001. And that was when Sushant Singh Rajput was not in touch with Ria Chakrabarti. But the later two properties, which were purchased in Malad, which Pranesh has quoted, and one more property, had been purchased by Ria Chakrabarti once she came into the life of Sushant Singh Rajput. And the ITR document, which is right in front of our TV screen, clearly shows that the family did not have that much of wealth with them, which could have led to this kind of plush property which she purchased. So these are the factors which the ED will be looking into.
Well, this is going to be very interesting for us to watch out. Also, tell us who all are going to be interrogated by the ED. Any word on whether Pithani, who skipped the summons yesterday, is likely to join in?
Yes, he has been summoned to join the investigation today, but generally at ED office here in Mumbai, the questioning starts post 11 a.m. or in between 11 to 12 noon. So we are hoping that the questioning of Siddharth Pithani, Ria Chakrabarti, Shouvik, apparently her father can also join the investigation, but there is no clarity on that, could be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. But this is for sure that Ria and Shouvik's joint interrogation is expected to happen today, because both of them have been questioned separately in several rounds of questioning which has happened at this office in Mumbai. And what we can see that today there would be a joint questioning, because Ria and Shouvik, both of them were partners of the business which had funding from Sushant Singh Rajput. They did not had any kind of monetary funding in these two companies, but instead of that, they became the owners by becoming the board of director of these two companies. How she purchased property, what were the source of income, whether there is any shell company angle involved in this kind of purchase is the key factors for which Enforcement Directorate would be asking question. ED has also made a bar chart, which shows that how in the center of these shell company Nexus was a particular individual who was in touch with several people. One of these companies had led to link with Sushant's company, in which both brother and sister were actors.
Well, Priyank, if you can also give us a quick update on the different angles that the ED has been probing, other than the 15 crore alleged diversification and transfer of funds, the two floods that you've noted down for our viewers, as well as what you said, a possibility of shell funds. Tell us an entire list of the very grave inconsistencies which are now coming to light.
Yeah, certainly. See, this ED came into picture the moment Sushant Singh Rajput's father, gave a complaint to the Bihar police that Ria Chakrabarti, Shouvik and her father had allegedly conspired with the chartered accountants, and later to that they and the manager of Sushant Singh Rajput, and they took out a sum total of 15 crore rupee. In any investigation which has more than 10 crores of value, ED comes into picture. But that thing led to a Pandora box for the Enforcement Directorate, because the moment they started looking into the funding of these companies, they saw that brother and sister and father became partners in the two companies which were owned by Sushant Singh Rajput. On total, he had 4 companies on which these companies were launched by him. What they have seen, that the spending pattern of the family was not consistent the moment Riya Chakrabarti became the board of director of Sushant Singh Rajput company. They did not have any kind of fund share in the funding of these companies, but instead of that they became directors and owners and beneficiary of these companies without any kind of investment. The ITR shows a different picture, that Riya had an ITR of 18.5 lakh rupee 2 years back, but the moment they came into life into Sushant Singh Rajput, there was a difference. What the ED is also looking at, that whether there is any kind of linkage of these companies owned by these people with a web of shell companies which would have been circulated by other individuals of this particular industry. So that can lead to more
Absolutely.
and more information.
In fact, Priyank, do stay on with us. Kajal Iyer is also joining us. Kajal, what is very suspicious, something that we got for our viewers a short while back, is how IP addresses of Sushant Singh Rajput's companies were mysteriously being changed again and again repeatedly, even after he had died. Not just that, even the domain addresses were being changed. What do these kind of discrepancies really point towards?
Given the fact that the website was not up and it was only registered, so it will be a question of investigation as to what exactly was the aim of changing the domain name and the IP addresses. And of course, given the fact that every new revelation is being probed by the investigating agencies, the ED shall also be looking into this. The companies that they were directors in were started around September last year, and whether or not any profits were borne from those companies, all of that needs to be actually first seen. Unless something is established in terms of what exactly was the nature of the work of the company, were there any transactions, only then will there be more clarity on this IP address and domain name also, because so far the website was not up. And despite this, if there were these changes made, then investigation can find out what was the aim for this.
Priyank, you've been telling our viewers about the income tax returns of Riya Chakrabarti, which we have on our screens even now as we speak, which shows very clearly that her income was barely enough to afford a flat, forget about two flats in Mumbai in plush areas, since it was merely around 13 lakh rupees. Is that something that the ED may be asking her about today during her interrogation?
Yeah, obviously, Meghna, that is going to happen. What the document shows that Riya Chakrabarti's father, Indrajit Chakrabarti, purchased a flat in the month of October 2011, and the flat amount was of 53 lakh rupees. As per the document access, it also shows that it is the same address of the Ovle flat where the Sushant Singh Rajput registered his company in the year 2019 and 2020. The name of the companies were these two companies were first one which was in were the first company in which Sushant and Riya had partnership with. The later document also shows that the apartment was off of 757 square feet, and it also shows that the flat which was owned by Riya on October 3rd, 2011 had paid a duty of 3 lakh for the registry. The worth was of 53 lakh, which the family would have certainly not paid, looking into their ITR, which has been accessed by Times also. So there's several discrepancies on which the ED would be working on. We'll have to wait and watch for the ED officials to start questioning of Riya, then further detail can come out.
Well, Well, very shortly we expect Rhea and her brother Shovik to arrive at the ED headquarters, where we have Priyank as well as Kajal on the ground tracking every development in this very interesting and fast-paced story as it's developing for us. A short break, we're going to return with the newest updates and the angles. Stay tuned.